from Fans is a show that is all about favorites. What does that mean? It means literally anything. As long as there's a quantifiable thing that you love in fandom, in pop culture, in literature, anything, and you can make a list of it and why it's your favorite, then you come on my show. And then I make a list, and we secretly, I use the word compare, but we don't compare them because there's absolutely no quantifiable reason why mine is better than yours, even though it didn't make as much money or didn't have as many people in it. We love things because we love them. And so that's what we evoke from the show. We laugh a lot, we have a really good time. I get to make some wonderful friends, a wonderful new friend. So before we get started, I'm going to start with Kat and ask her to give her a quick introduction of who she is, and then we'll get back around and get started.
Hi, I'm Kat. Kat Godsey to some, Katya De La Rue to others. I'm a drag queen, I'm a drag king, and I've been a cosplayer for 10 or 15 years now. I'm really happy to be on staff for CyPha Con the last 4 years. I help run the cosplay contest and everything. And I would have to say my favorite horror is existential horror or sci-fi horror. My favorite horror-ish movie, it's horror, is Nope, if you haven't seen that one. So yeah, I made that cosplay and like the juke suit. It's my favorite thing.
It's
yesterday. I almost brought it. But, yeah. So yeah.
She left no crumbs either, but she made
Eight.
Okay. Miss Justice.
Hi, I'm Justice. I've been a cosplayer on and off for the last 10 years. I got a kid, I do burlesque, I do nerdlesque, and my favorite horror movie is Midsummer. Yes.
It's a good choice.
That movie's unbearable. But anyway.
Not to me, it's like a good food.
Cave diving.
Anyway. Never
Not that
listen.
All right, Mr. Nelson.
Okay, I'm Nelson with the 501st Star Wars cosplay group. I'm a stormtrooper. I have my own podcast called Average Home Theater, where I review movies and even home theater equipment, stuff like that. And I love horror as well. And my favorite horror movie, it's probably Demon Knight. Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight.
Tales from the Crypt one, right?
Yep.
You know, there's another one from like the 70s. Anyway, okay. And next is Mr. Mark.
Hey everybody, my name is Mark. I'm an author, editor, and a screenwriter in the horror and thriller genre. I guess Joker nominated, or finalist. I lost out on an award, and it's cool to tell everyone I'm a finalist instead of a loser. Would you say I've been on his show about 5 or 6 times? I think I'm a co-host.
I think it's 5 times too many. But
Right.
you can use that word. I'm just not going to.
Co-host? Anyway, happy to talk horror.
And last but certainly not least is the treasure that I found right here at this con. She's been on the show not enough times. It's Lilly G.
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm a musician and definitely, yes, you say I'm just a massive fandom enthusiast in general. I met Jamie just kind of.
Right over there.
Yep, that's true. Right over there, across the way. I'm an absolute sucker for found footage films. Just love them to bits. But even though, oddly enough, my absolute favorite horror movie would not be a found footage film, it's Madhouse from 1974.
Starring the one and the only
Vincent Price.
This is when I fell in love with her because not her husband, because this sweet little girl comes up to my table and she likes horror and I'm like, oh yeah, that's really great, you know. She's like, oh no, and I'm like, oh, I'm sure you love Scream. And oh, one of my favorite films is Madhouse, and
I'm sure you love the Twilight.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when she started astounding me. And anyway, so I am honored and blessed to have you guys here. I've talked a lot, so if y'all are ready, we're ready. If you have a question, please raise. Anybody who has a honey or a bae or a that loves horror movies that you're just not into, but you want to spend time with them, we're going to talk about those movies that you can. Or if you're new to the horror genre and you don't.
Guys, if you have not checked in, please come to our table near the door. We'd like to check in.
then this is what it is. So you can figure out what your likes are, and then we're all going to give a few suggestions of things in those categories. We're going to start off the show that I do. We always have honorable mentions, things that you may not put on your list but need to be talked about. And then we're going to go my choices of categories, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Our guests are going to jump in, and you can give anything you want to. So the 3 honorable mentions that I want to start with are old school horror. And by that, there's no color in any of these. I'm just going to tell you right now. Newer, younger people may not be quite that interested in it, but I'm going to tell you why you should be. Everybody knows Bela Lugosi was Dracula in 1931, which is a fantastic film. But what most people don't know is that they shot during the day. And when they left, a Spanish crew came in, used the exact same sets with a slightly more sensual flair to them, and recorded at night. So there is a Spanish version of 1931, so I would tell you to go out and find that one and dip your toe there. It's pretty much all Universal. In 1933, there is The Invisible Man. Not The Invisible Man Returns with Vincent Price later on, but that one's good too. This is a great film that spawned an incredible remake with Miss Moss, I think's her name. This one is about a man who takes a formula to make him invisible, but it also makes him lose his mind. And then rounding that off would be 1941's The Wolfman. This is the classic tale of a man who is a good person who gets bit by a lycanthrope and through no desire of his own begins to change. Come on in, take a seat. Anybody have an old school film that jumps out to them?
Are we going to count the original Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah.
Yes, because
Or do
there's
you
no
want me to
color.
go older than that?
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Okay, I'm going to say Night of the Living Dead. I mean, obviously invented the entire zombie genre as we know it. Romero's classic. Just an absolute beautiful film. And also, I would go with one of my personal favorites I used to watch all the time as a kid is Creature from the Black Lagoon. I love the Gillman, I love the tropical setting, and it's, you know, it's not scary, but it's just such a fun film to watch and kind of gets you kind of gearing towards horror and taking those steps.
And then when you know that some of it was actually filmed in the swamps of Louisiana,
Yes.
it really hits home to us natives. Great choices. Yes, ma'am.
One of my favorites is The Last Man on Earth. It's another Vincent Price. In that one, I think it's based on a book that inspired
3 films.
3 films, yeah. But the one with Will Smith.
Right, it's called I Am Legend.
Thank
So
you.
the story, the book is called I Am Legend, written by Richard Matheson,
Mm-hmm.
who wrote so many Incredible Shrinking Man and so many other ones.
Yeah. I really
Excellent
like
choice.
that one.
I think both of us would agree it's probably the best of the 3.
I really like it because, like, especially with introductory horror, it kind of turns the genre on its head. Like, I don't want to spoil anything too much, but, like, you know, it's the last man on Earth and everybody else is zombies, and you kind of, like, figure out by the end, like, he's the monster. So, yeah, it's a good one.
It's a great one, especially with the fact that the whole movie the whole story flips the script on who is the bad guy and who are the monsters. It's not a lot of special effects and makeup in this. So the actors, the mostly Spanish actors, as a matter of fact,
Really?
it's filmed in Spain, or Italy, Italy.
Yeah.
It really gives it that ethereal, who are you type feel to it. So definitely worth checking out. Anybody else? You want to move on?
He stole mine.
Okay, he does that.
I saw his list. And I'm just like, yeah, that's the one.
Miss Lee, you have one?
The Tingler.
Oh, God. Oh, who's in that one again?
I'm always gonna bring up Vincent
I know
Price
you
any
are.
chance that I
And that's
get.
why we love you.
I feel like that movie is not talked about enough, and it was one of the few movies that we hear about that had interactive movie theater experience, because back then, basically, it's about this pathologist whose wife absolutely hates him, extremely unfaithful, but that's just kind of part of the side story. Basically, he discovers what contributes to your fear is this little insect-like thing. It's actually a scale model of a velvet worm that lives on your spine, and if you scream, it prevents you from giving you paralyzing fear, is basically what it is. But there's one that escapes, and so people actually watching the movie at the time, there were buzzers on different seats, so if you felt it, you had to scream to make the tingler stop. So I thought it was pretty cool. And they had actors going in and out of the theater too, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, this was all put together by a man named William Castle, who was notorious for doing these great things. He would have a nurse standing on by because his movie was so scary that one person has already died from it. And not only, like you said, that great thing where he shocked the seats, he would actually have the buzzers changed, because when your friend came with you the next night, you sit them in that chair knowing then you get the shock again. And so it is wonderful stuff.
I have it's interesting to me tidbit about Vincent Price, but did you know he has a cookbook?
Yep.
He has several cookbooks.
I have the cookbook.
Yes.
So my brother-in-law got it for me. I'm definitely a foodie, a gourmand, and a horror fan. And my brother-in-law got me his big giant cookbook, which was
he was no slouch.
So
either.
fun. No, he was a fan of fine dining, and it has all the old menus from like the 50s and 60s.
I'd definitely say if you're interested in food, check this book out.
No, I
He
haven't.
had a cooking show.
Yeah, he did.
There he is.
It was great. Okay, we're going to move on to number 5, something that I like to call It Could Happen horror. And basically exactly what it says. You know, we love zombies, we love Frankenstein, but the true monsters don't need any of that. Perfect example, 1975's Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
This is a movie that you literally don't see the monster until the end. And you add to that the fact that it wasn't planned that way, but that Bruce the shark, the robot, corroded in salt water and couldn't work. So Spielberg, being the entourage, or whatever the French is, where he was learning the trade, decided, okay, well, I'm going to use that to my advantage. Wonderful film, a little bit of blood. Now, moving on, sometimes the monsters are us. And a perfect example of that is 1990's Misery. Everybody who's read the book knows Annie. That role was specifically cast for the wonderful actress. Come on, I'm letting somebody. See, I was letting y'all get involved in it. Thank you. I did a whole show on Kathy Bates. And she is wonderful as the ultimate fan. I have one of those already, so I hope he doesn't hobble me. It's a great book that builds and builds and builds the suspense, and there's not a ghost or zombie to be seen anywhere. And the last would be next year's Silence of the Lambs. This is a story that is on a lot of different levels, because you have someone in Hannibal Lecter who you know is the bad guy, but from the film, most of the film, he is in prison, safely tucked away, but yet he is still able to reach out of that cell and bring terror, even death, to people around him, while he tries to gently raise and train young Clarice Starling, the FBI agent, to help him find one of his previous patients. Okay, anybody else? Movies that could happen.
I was going to say, as an author, I wish I had a fan like Annie Wilkes, because it would flatter me if I got to a level where somebody kidnapped me and broke my leg so I would write a book. It would be fantastic.
It flatters you or flattens you?
It would be both. Yeah. I would be flattered. So if anybody wants to do that, I'm probably going to be okay with it for a few days.
I'll have all of Mark's socials at the end.
Yeah, I'll give you my address. Just fine. I'll name a creature feature that you stole Jaws from me, but I'm going to say Lake Placid. Because I absolutely love that movie. Giant crocodile doing crocodile things. But you also have so much humor in it with Oliver Platt and who is it, Bill Pullman?
Bill Pullman.
Is it Pullman?
Oh yeah,
Bill Pullman. I mean, you just have
Betty
so
White.
much. And Betty White. You have so much humor. You have the jump scares. You have the ew gore moments. It's just a fun movie. Fun movie.
Okay.
I don't know if it can happen now, but if you're old like we are, it could have happened when we were younger. Cujo.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You know, now with cell phones, I don't know if it would really happen.
You like that one, huh?
I love Stephen King.
Well, the great thing about Cujo is the additional horror for younger people going back and watching it is the thought of being trapped in a car with no phone or nothing to do, while a
That's
dog's
horrific in its
outside.
own.
That could be the movie.
And they are supposed to be remaking it.
They're remaking it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they
There you go.
We all get our lapses in cell service, so I
The
guess you could do it.
slobber on that dog alone. I need to look up how they did that or what they gave that dog. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
ugh.
I used to remember what it was, but they also said that that dog was so sweet
Oh.
It was hard.
that they wanted the
Yeah.
savage part of it. They actually had to create the costume and put a person in it to make them attack people.
Wow.
Which the behind the scenes pictures are hilarious because
Yes.
it's like you have the dog or the guy dressed as the dog with the actors doing like a Rockettes kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's great. It's a
hilarious.
wonderful
But on
film.
screen, it's hard to, like, it's.
It is.
They did
It's
a great job.
Add to that the fact that the mother has a son who's asthmatic and can't get out to get his medicine, and the heat builds and builds and builds. So not only do you have this rabid dog, you have her son who is dying and she can't get out. So great. Moving.
Also, like Pearl and X, like that.
Oh,
movie.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Oh,
so,
yeah.
it was so, it just created this whole ambiance of Dread, and also there's another movie called Dread with Jackson Rathbone in it. It's about this art student who's trying to finish like his giant art thesis project, and he meets this other guy, and they find out they both leveled on a feeling of superior dread. Like Jackson Rathbone's character had lost his brother in a car accident, and this other guy, it kind of alludes to what happens, and I'm not going to say anything else, but he experienced a very traumatic death of his parents. And at the end of it, they do this experiment where they're bringing people in from the street, and they're like, tell me about when you experienced dread. Tell me, and it's all these different people's experience, and then you find out that the guy who put the whole project together, the guy who Jackson Rathbone met, he actually the whole time has been not taking his meds. He's been making crazy art. He's been using women in really terrible ways, and no one gets a happy ending. There is nothing happy about the movie. Like, everything about the movie is life-ruining. It is one of the best movies I've ever seen, and it is simply called Dread.
And it can all happen.
It can all
That's-
happen. Like, it's just two dudes who meet in art school, and one of them stops taking their meds, and one of them's really impressionable.
Ugh.
It's horrible.
Wow.
That's terrifying.
It's horrible.
That's awesome.
Sounds great.
I did have.
It is a lot of the reason I don't eat steak anymore.
Oh, cool.
You realize, oh, I should have seen this coming. I hate a movie where in the last 10 minutes the killer is revealed and it was the dead killer thought to come back to life's next door neighbor's sister. This movie did that perfectly. Get Out from 2017, another Jordan Peele movie.
Paddle and Heart, man.
I know.
It's like you take all the popular choices,
I
and then
did.
you're like, hey guys,
what do you
name
know
a
about?
movie.
Well, like I like to
Oh,
say,
you don't know any?
it's my show.
I know.
And then 2022 is The Menu. Another thriller. So I'm going to stop. Everybody jump in on any of those titles or bring up your own.
We're all going to the World's Fair, I think is a good one. It has this laid back vibe that you don't
Need
really
to watch
see
it.
much. That I think
good.
we should see more honestly. It's Anna Cobb's debut film. Basically, what it's about, this girl named Casey. She partakes in an online role-playing game called the World's Fair. And there's kind of this, like, you see a lot of people who are participating in making these videos, like, there's this change in their mental state, but the thing is you don't know if it's real, or if it's just role-playing, or if it's somebody's mental health deteriorating. And so you have to just think about it and figure it out for yourself, which I
haven't
think
seen that one, so I'll have to look for it.
Yeah.
Miss Justice, do you have one?
The Babadook, and also there's this movie called Excision. It's you know Excision?
I know it's. Please talk about Babadook because I won't.
Okay.
I know I'm mysterious and you can't figure out if I like it or not. Yeah, you talk about it.
No, I think the Babadook is super silly, and everyone. Also, I watched it when I was postpartum as crap.
Oh.
So I was like, oh yeah, like I'm going through some stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, son. And,
Screaming
like-
kid in the back seat.
why can't you be normal?
Right.
Anyway,
Sounds
but
like
it's
my
like
mom.
my favorite thing about that movie is like you can't tell if she's actually stressed out because there's a creepy man in the closet serving Luke's. You can't tell, like, everything about him is off-putting, and the whole time the worst part about it is it's making her actively be a bad parent,
Right.
and she's so aware of it. And she's like, why can't,
Hey guys,
whenever
we
she
got a
says,
couple
why
of
can't I be
people,
normal, why can't you
both
be
not
normal? Why
checked
can't
in
I be normal?
and no decklist submitted, so please get that done like
I would say
yesterday.
a movie that was kind of, I think, ruined a little bit by The Sixth Sense, and I love The Sixth Sense, but everyone was now on guard for the twist ending is The Others. And
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman whisper talks through the whole movie, but that's what she does.
That's okay.
And it's just such a nice period piece horror movie that, again, has you guessing to the end, but you're kind of already on guard because The Sixth Sense came out before it, but that still doesn't really ruin the whole experience of the movie, which has those awesome jump scares mixed with a lot of psychological horror, mixed with a really great, sad backstory of guiding you to the end.
And
Yeah,
in a
super
period, it doesn't get a lot of horror.
You're right.
You know,
So-
that's that weird time. It was like
The turn of the century?
Yeah,
Like
like
not quite
late
Victorian?
yes, exactly, but not quite.
Like, what war was the
modern.
husband fighting in? Was it World War I or
It
was
might
it the
be
Civil
one.
War?
Yeah.
It was.
No, it wasn't the Civil. I think it was Spanish American.
Oh,
Yeah.
Something
war.
not like big,
Yeah.
big.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Definitely a great one.
Yeah.
Nelson.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
That takes place right here, Lake Charles.
Literally, like right down the road.
Because you know the whole time you don't know if John Goodman is bat crap crazy or
If you need to know what that word is, you can Google it.
or if there really is some type of apocalyptic event going on. So, and it's great.
My favorite psychological horror, I will have two, but I'll mostly cover this one. Okay, another M. Night Shyamalan that goes under the radar because he did not direct it, he wrote it. It's a movie called Devil, and it's 6 people stuck in an elevator together, and one of them is the devil. And it goes into his like philosophy of fairy tales and everything, and there's this incredible scene where these guys are watching the cameras on this elevator, and they can do nothing to but watch what happens. And one of the guys has been insisting the whole time, one of them's a devil, one of them's a devil. He's in there, and he gives this speech during the movie about I don't know. It's just so good, and I rewatched it recently, and I was like, I think even though he didn't direct it, this is Shyamalan's best script. I personally love that
Seen
one.
it too. I love it.
Yes.
I got on a whole elevator horror kick for a while.
Yeah.
Which I should probably do a show on. I
That
mean,
would be
there's
good.
several of them out
Yeah.
there. You
And
know.
I do have one more quick
Okay.
one. Another one that I love is Annihilation. And that's that is sci-fi horror and existentialist and psychological. I have never gone to a movie that one, I loved, but did not want to rewatch. I don't want to watch that movie ever again. I want my only viewing to be that in the theater. I almost crawled out of my skin in that final scene. So, yeah.
I'm planting the flag here. Despite your bias and hatred, I like M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, I don't hate
I like-
I just think he's a liar with the village.
I liked almost all of his movies.
One 5-second clip from the beginning of the movie, and I would be fine with the rest of it. I love the rest of it.
Get over it.
I'm not. Well, what I am going to do is get over number 3 and get down to number 2. I want to kind of blow through this because I know that there's some people out here who are going to have some of their favorites too, and I can't wait to give out my sticker.